Hello, hello, hello. Sorry to have kept you waiting. I've had a busy day. Where are we at here? Let me just connect my other device. Thank you for the like sign. That's awesome. So last week we got on the interview with Chris Watts himself and of course heard all of the lies once again from the horse's mouth, so to speak, right? I'm just connecting to my other device here. Hello, Jen. You're actually watching the Dr. Oz crap, Watts crap now. I am really sincerely not surprised to hear you say it like that, Jen, because there isn't anything necessarily new. So, hi, Carl. Hello, Rise Up. Hi, April Teasy. Okay, this is connected. Perfect. Hi, Norma. Okay, so get rid of this. Like I said, we had gone over. Hi, Joe. We went over Christopher Watts's interview last week, so we're going to carry on with the interview with Luke. And
hi, Luke. This is Agent Lee calling from the Colorado Bureau of Investigation. How are you?
Good, how are you?
Good. Hey, I'm just down here in Frederick helping with the missing person case.
Okay.
And I was just wondering if I could ask you some questions about Chris.
Yeah, let me, give me like 2 seconds so I can get pulled over on the side of the road.
Oh, perfect. Thank you. Okay, perfect. So, Luke, are you Chris's supervisor, or what is your title?
Yeah, I'm his direct supervisor, yeah.
Direct supervisor, okay. And what is your title?
I'm a production foreman.
Production foreman, okay. And how long has Chris worked for you?
Since, would have been April of 2016. That's when I first came back over to this group, and he was already in the group.
Okay. And so right now we're kind of trying to scour his cell phone and GPS records from his truck.
Okay.
Can you kind of explain to me, like Monday morning, where would he go to his job site?
So first thing Monday, we had planned on working out by Rogan, which is, I don't know if you're familiar with it or not, but it's east of Brighton, about 30 miles or so.
Okay.
And we had a couple wells over there that we were trying to get running, and he was headed straight out there.
Okay. Did he ever show up there?
Yes.
Okay. Do you know about what time he got there?
Off the top of my head, without looking at his GPS, no, I don't.
Okay. So he shows that about 6:53 he arrived at an address near Keensburg. Would that be close by?
Yeah. Yeah,
okay.
That would be right 10-15 minutes away right there.
Okay. And then how long were you guys there?
So I was not out on location.
Okay.
My guys work, for the most part, they're not supervised directly. If they have problems, they call me, but they're self-sufficient, so.
Okay.
My understanding is he was out there pretty much all day on what's called the Survey Ranch.
Survey, is that what you said?
Yeah, it's CERVI.
Survey Ranch, okay.
We have several wells out there, and him and a few of my other guys were out there pretty much all day with him.
Okay.
Until he left to go home, he called me to let me know that Shannon couldn't get a hold of her.
Okay. And then can you tell me how your GPS works? Like, is it when you start your car or when the car moves, or what triggers that?
So both. So when the ignition is basically when the keys turned on, the GPS is on. So whenever the vehicle is started, I mean, it records stops and starts and how long the trip was, how long they drove, those sorts of things.
Okay. And then can you kind of explain to me the conversation that he had, I believe, with you on the 7th about maybe splitting up from his wife or?
Yeah, so, and he didn't say necessarily that they were going to be split, and he just told me that they were having some issues that they were trying to work out. He did notify me that if I saw anything goofy on his geotab, which is his GPS, that it may be because he was going to be staying with a friend.
Okay. Did he give you any indication who that friend would be?
He did not.
Okay. How close are you to Chris?
I mean, he's one of 13 guys that I have working for me.
Okay.
Like I said earlier, we've been working together for a little over 2 years, so.
Like, are you guys going to barbecues on the weekends or like concerts
no.
or? Okay.
It's strictly work.
Strictly work. Okay. Who would you say he's the closest to at work?
Probably Troy McCoy.
Okay.
That's in my group. He's another one of the guys that works for me.
Okay.
But I would say he is probably closest with Troy.
Okay. Were you aware that he went to a Rockies game on Sunday?
I was not.
Okay. Do you have any idea if like he has like a girlfriend or if he thought his wife had a boyfriend or anything like that?
He never indicated or said anything to me that made me think that. He never came out and said one way for him or his wife.
Okay. And did he ever go into any details at any time about what kind of troubles that they had?
No, and it's one of those deals, being that it was at work, that's personal.
Sure.
If it's going to affect him at work, then I would like to know about it, but I didn't pry on anything. I wasn't going to dig into his personal life or anything.
Okay. Do you know, as far as like his work truck, now can he drive that like on the weekends and when he's not working, or is that pretty much to be driven while he's working?
Yeah, it's just for work.
Just for work, okay.
Yeah. And he does work an occasional weekend, not as much anymore, but he does, on occasion, he will come out on the weekend to work.
Okay.
So he would be driving it then, but.
And as far as like, if there's like addresses on his GPS that don't look like they're like cell site, or well sites, could he take his truck to like pick up dinner before he got home, or run an errand?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, so long as they're not driving 30, 40 miles out of their way to go somewhere, I kind of, life happens. I got families to take care of, so if they need to run errands on their way home, I have no problem at all with that.
Okay. What about? Sorry, go ahead.
That's kind of our company policy. There's nothing really set in stone on that, but it's just you don't use your pickup for anything but work. But if you got to swing by a kid's ball game or get groceries or dinner on the way home, go ahead.
Okay. And as far as having other people in his truck, is there a rule against that?
If they're Anadarko employees or embedded contractors within the company, no. We don't generally let, we're not the military or law enforcement, but I don't know what other word to use. We don't generally let civilians to ride along with them in the vehicles.
So could he go pick up his kids from school, like by policy, or?
If he needed to, yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Are you aware if his wife or kids have ever been in his truck?
Not to my knowledge, no. He's never said anything to me anyway.
Okay. And do you know what he drives when he's not at work?
I do not know.
Okay. Do you have any idea about his financial situation?
No, I do not.
Okay. Has he ever talked about his wife?
A little bit. More oftentimes than not. He has daughters and I have daughters, so we talk about kids more than we talk about wives. But
Okay.
I know both of his kids have been pretty sick over the past couple of years, so he would talk a little bit about the stress that puts on him and his wife especially, but
okay.
Never really got into any detail or anything like that.
Did he tell you that his wife was pregnant?
Yes.
Okay. How did he act when he told you that?
He wanted me to kind of keep it secret for a little while because he hadn't told hardly anybody yet. I don't know that he actually even told his family yet, but when he talked to me about it, he was pretty excited.
Okay. And on the 7th or whenever that was, that he talked about having some issues with his wife and maybe going to stay somewhere else, has he ever talked prior to that about having issues with his wife?
No.
Has anyone else at work talked about it?
If they have, they've never talked to me about it.
Okay. Did you have any suspicion that maybe he was having some issues?
Not until he actually came to me, closed the door, and said, and told me that first time.
Okay. And where did you start seeing his GPS being logged after he said that?
So per our discussion, I told him if you're going to go somewhere, just shoot me a text or give me a call, let me know. That way I know to look for it, because I don't check those guys' GPS every day.
Okay.
So until today, I had not pulled up his GPS.
Had he ever sent you a text saying he was staying somewhere else besides his house?
No.
Okay. Were you aware that his wife was on a trip?
Yeah, he told me that she was going out of state. I can't remember the dates on it, but.
Okay, is that why he asked for time off of work, or?
I'm assuming so, yeah.
Okay. Do you know, who he's close to outside of work?
I don't.
Okay. And when he's at work, does he has a personal phone and a work phone, it looks like. Does he usually have both of them with him, have you seen, or do you know?
I don't know. A lot of my guys do that, and they will carry both of them at work, but to say that, yeah, I know he carried them both at work, I can't say that.
Okay. Have you had any, disciplinary issues with him, or?
No, he's been, other than he's a little quiet and reserved, so sometimes I gotta try conversation out of him.
Okay.
But no, he has been nothing but a good employee.
Okay. Have you ever seen him lose his temper or anything?
No.
Do you have any concerns about him?
I don't. Other than, just being concerned that for what he's going through right now.
Okay.
But I mean, I've never seen or heard anything that would make me concerned about Chris.
Okay. Have you talked to him since all of this has happened?
Yeah, so I talked to him last night and then again this morning.
Okay.
Well, I guess it was this afternoon.
Okay. And how did he seem when you talked to him?
Chris is somewhat of an introvert. He does not like attention. He wanted to come back to work. We made the call not to let him, just because we work in an inherently dangerous business, and for his safety as well as the safety of those around him, if your head's not completely in the game, I can't have you here.
Right.
So came up with a game plan to get him to come back to work tomorrow, and our HR department said they weren't comfortable with that decision, so we're going to give him a couple days off.
Okay. Does he have any theories about where his wife and kids could be?
No, I mean, from the way he described it to me, he said, Luke, it's like something out of a freaking movie or a TV show. He said all of her stuff is still at the house. The kids' stuff is still at the house. It's just like she disappeared.
Okay. What exactly did he tell you about what happened?
Originally yesterday, he came or called me. I believe he was already on his way home at that point, but he called me and just said, hey, listen, I can't get a hold of my wife. None of her friends can get a hold of her. I got to go home and see what's going on. I just, at that point, told him, okay, no big deal. Just let me know if there's anything you need, or if you need to take a day off, whatever you need, just let me know. My philosophy with my guys is that family comes first, and I try and always implement that with them. So he knew that, but I didn't hear anything back from him until I texted him last night. I would say probably 9-ish, just to ask him, hey, any update, just making sure everything was okay. He called me back immediately and just was like, they're still gone. The police came and searched my house. They had a warrant. They searched the vehicles. And he even talked about coming into work today, and fortunately he decided not to do that just because he didn't get much sleep last night. But that's, like he said, that's what he told me. He said it's like something out of a movie. He said she's just gone. Her purse is here, her ID's here, her car is here, the keys are here, the kids' medicine is still here. She's just disappeared.
Okay.
And then when I talked to him today, that was our conversation last night. When I talked to him today, he's, like I said, he's a bit of an introvert. He's tired. He doesn't want to talk to any more media. He was kind of looking to, hey, can I come back to work to get a break from this? And like I say, that's where our HR decided not to let that happen.
Okay. Luke, I think I'm getting pulled away to do something else. So can I call you back later if I have some more questions?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, I appreciate it very much.
You bet.
Thank you. Bye.
Okay, so just want to go in here. And get to, this is the follow-up interview with Chris Watts, guys. It's only a few minutes long, though.
Hey, hold up. Okay. So as the night goes forward, we're out on the scene, trying to recover your loved ones. So tell me again a little about that hatch. We have some guys out there who think that hatch is just too small. You think it's about what size? Let's compare it to this plate.
It's about twice the size of that.
It's twice the size of this plate? Okay. No, it sounds crass, but did you have to kind of squeeze him in to get him down there?
No, I mean, when right, I mean,
Okay.
I don't want to describe it, but I mean, it's
Yeah. Feet first or head first? Feet. Okay. And then were their arms like this, or were their arms like this?
It's
Okay. because you're holding your arms. Okay. All right. So I know we've asked you 1,000 times and you're probably getting sick of it, but we're very, very concerned about how to get those kids out. You can imagine we can't really cut a hole in that tank because the sparks will blow something.
Yeah.
So I just want to make very sure that you're 100% sure that they're in there.
Yes.
Okay. One in one, one in the other.
Yes.
Now that doesn't make sense to me. Why would you?
I wasn't thinking at this point. I was scared out of my mind. I didn't know what to do.
Okay. So you carried one up, put her in. Did you shut it?
It just latches.
Okay. Oh, it's just a latch.
Yeah.
And then went back down, got the other one, went up the different tower. Is that how it works?
It's the same staircase.
Oh, it's the same to get up to both?
Yeah.
Okay. But they're two different tanks?
Yes.
Okay.
So right beside each other.
Okay. All right. And you didn't have to, I know it's gross, but you didn't have to
No,
cut them
no,
up
no,
or you
no,
didn't have to,
no,
nothing like
no,
that.
no,
Okay.
no.
All right. The one thing I really want to make sure is that you're doing so good right now and tonight. I would hate for, as we're trying to go out and get them, another accident happens and that comes back to you because we're out there because of this.
Accident.
You know what I mean? Like, if they're out there and they're trying to get these bodies, if they're not even in there and we're wasting our time.
Oh, no.
Okay, they're in there.
Yes.
Okay. Yeah, I just don't want somebody to have a spark that blows something up, and I don't want that to come back to you. So please don't waste our time. They are out there. Okay. All right. Yes, please. I held up. Okay. So as the night goes forward, we're out on the scene, trying to recover your loved ones.
All right, no need to hear that twice. Anyways, this was the interview that we listened to on last week, so it's just the written out version. You see what I mean, though, by having duplicate information. Like we really didn't need both the written and the audios, but I think it was a filler type way for them to give us what looked like all the case information when in reality it was just bits and pieces, right? So this piece was the photograph that the officer had just come into the room to ask Chris if the girls were really both each individually in these tanks and get a little bit more information and stuff like that. Because I'd imagine it was going to be an absolutely huge job to get those tanks drained in order to remove the back latch thing and get them out. So this is the email between Nicole Kessinger and Chris Watts. And as you can see here, I'm going to try to enlarge it enough so that y'all can really see it. This was sent June 12th at 4:30, roughly, 2018. And you can see here it says, Nikki, yes, a beautiful life is something that is hard to find in this world since people always seem to have an agenda for everything. I do believe in karma, so I agree with you as well. Any conversations we have will stay between us. No need to worry there. My work number is There's the number. If you need to get a hold of me in the field, he writes. And then sometimes email can be tricky with my spotty service out here. I have an early morning meeting and then I'm doing Lodo for the construction crew on various sites all day. So if I don't see you tomorrow, I hope you have an amazing day. This was the piece that was from Nikki. Chris agreed. It is always nice to find people you can relate to. I enjoy talking to you as well. I feel understood. I'm looking for someone to build a beautiful life with. Seems so simple, but is so unrealistic sometimes, she writes. Build something similar to what you have done with your wife and those cute little girls. I do believe in karma, so out of respect for myself, you, and your family, I think it is best if we keep that friendship at work. Why do I feel like this was somewhat fabricated in order to cover her ass a little bit here? By the way, I keep the conversations we have between us. Best regards, Nikki Kessinger, HSE representative, Anadarko Petroleum Corporation, with phone numbers. Another email to Nikki. I am a straightforward guy. Lying just complicates things. I think you're absolutely stunning. And from what I've learned about you so far, you seem like an amazing person. I hope to continue to get to know you better since we have a lot in common. Chris Watts, E40s, Rover/FC. You can see that there's some font differentiates there, folks, which tells me I think that some of these might be fabricated a little bit, but regardless, this email is to Chris. Thank you for being honest with me this morning. Truthfulness is so underrated in our culture. Saludos cordiales. Oh my goodness. Gentlemen, I spoke with my gas monitor vendor regarding your app access. Our account has been reset. Please continue to use same credentials you were provided upon receiving your unit. Let me know if you continue to have issues or require anything further. Interesting. All right, so this here, folks, is the Colorado Bureau of Investigation Advisement of Rights to let the public know that Mr. Christopher Watts, of course, had his Miranda rights read to him, which was in accordance with the law, as should be. And this was the date and time that it was done. So he said yes to understanding the rights. He said yes to having these rights read to him. That's weird. Do you guys notice the different case number? Here's my paper. That's weird because the case file that I ordered from Weld County is number 18CR2003. And here we've got 273. Should we be ordering different case files to get more information, perhaps? See, this is why it's good to review information you've been looking at, right? There's the case file number again. But the case file on the Cora application and online and on everywhere is 18CR2003, which I realize is a longer number. The 18 is in representation of the year, which there's numbers before that, but they're not really super important. But interesting here. This was, of course, his signed polygraph interview consensus. Salut, Yvette. Yvette made it. I see. Yay. I see you guys got here. Hi, Gigi. So very interesting how the case number is quite different, as you can see in the top right-hand corner here. It is not the same case number as what I have for the case files that I ordered. If you look over here even, let's see. Of course, this is going to be timed out. I might have to just re-enter. Yeah, I'll just have to re-enter. Dun 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 dun. Case 18CR2003, which means it looks like there's two different cases. Interesting. Do you not think that is interesting? I think that's a pretty big find, in my opinion. Sorry to say, but I think that's a pretty big find. And I'm surprised that we didn't freaking notice it any sooner. But this is what's the good part, Jen, of going through the information, because you do see different things. I like the way you put the little Sherlock person there. So I think that for all intents purposes, I will be sending a request to Weld County in regards to getting any case file information from this number. Maybe we'll get some different information. That would be awesome. But like I said, I already contacted Weld County last week. I showed you guys the email last week saying that there was no more new information. Like, what we have is all that we're going to have, kind of thing. So this is my actual Weld County file. And like I said, you can see the blue highlighted right here. All downloads for 18CR2003, People versus Watts. So I'm curious to know if there's any other information under this other case file number. Tell me your thoughts. I'd love to know what you guys think about this new little piece of discovery that we just realized together. So I already opened all of these up for you guys so that you could see what we had done recently. So we're actually at 18. Like case file 273-S18, or yeah, 18. You're funny, Billy. This is some more images here. Let's see what we got. This is the shallow grave for Shanann. Honestly, Susie, I love the way you guys interact together. That's awesome. It really is. Hi, Gianna Marie. Oh, the card that everybody signed from at the site. All the CBI people here. Tammy, Dave, David. Such a horrific experience that everybody had to endure just due to the choices that Chris made. It's unfortunate. Again, though, you know, this wasn't really critical information. I feel like if we would have gotten information on the interview with Jim Gutowski, or we would have had information on, you know, polygraph for Kessinger, or the warrant that was issued for the GPS coordinates, was that ever done? Because I know she signed a paper for it, but we sure as heck never saw the GPS coordinates. There was other very pertinent information that I feel could have been released to the public that we didn't hear anything about. Well, that was the back latch that they'd had to take off in order to get the girls. Just so sad. Yeah, that's true. We didn't get nearly as much information as we can see names that are written all over this, right? We did not get all the different variations of all the different interviews, of all the different work of everybody listed. We really didn't. We got bits and pieces of it. Some of these workers that had to, you know, go inside these tanks to remove these girls who were already decomposed, and, you know, like I can still remember reading details of one of the people picking up one of the girl's hands and arm, and the skin slid off. Like, oh, like seriously. You know, some of those people sincerely needed therapeutic help afterwards from seeing these things and having to go to this environment and knowing that there was two children, you know, buried in the crude oil tank, and having to remove them, but holding them super tight, because, like, not super tight, but you know what I mean. You'd have to carry the whole body length in order to make sure, and perhaps even multiple people, so as like a whole arm sleeve didn't completely fall off. Like, absolutely disgusting what this man did to his own children. It's just maddening. Oh, like, seriously. And, so all these people that had to endure going through something like this, all because Chris Watts, did this to his family, is just unbelievable. It's just unbelievable. My heart sure goes out to these workers. It's just unbelievable that he would do something like this to the only kids that he had. I mean, it's just unreal that he thought this was a good idea to do this to his family at all of it. Like, I mean, these barrels are huge, so we know that it took hours to get these emptied low enough to be able to open up the back without jeopardizing anybody's safety for chance of explosion and stuff like that. So, but just heart-wrenching to imagine, what these workers had to do in order to get the girls out of where their own father placed them into. Like, just insane. Like, I don't think I'll ever be able to fully wrap my mind around all of this, but I tell you, these images that I've read about in the autopsy, and the fact that the coffins had to be specially sealed because of this crude oil and them not being able to completely remove all of it, and on top of it, all of these people that had to be susceptible to the evil that Chris Watts did. This is no small situation, right? It is absolutely sickening. And it's unbelievable. And if you read all of these details about the girl's skin slipping off of them and all this stuff, I mean, you have to remember that the girls were in this oil from the 13th until the 16th when they were being, removed from these. It's absolutely torn my heart, and I don't think I'll ever fully get over this case. Ever. Certainly unbelievable that this is what he thought was a good plan for whatever reason, to get out from underneath the tremendous amount of financial debt. The fact that he couldn't discuss with his wife what he was really feeling and wanting and stuff. Like, honestly, this was the plan. This was a good idea. Like, geez. I will never fully be able to ever understand this. Exactly, Jen. Imagine if it would have caused for like an entire small town to blow up, right? I mean, it could have been a much bigger situation, but I do find it a little bit odd, though, that we have a completely different case file number here compared to the core application case file number. That's kind of bugging me. Yeah, but I mean, I'm sure there would have been forensic evidence, even with some kind of an explosion, that they would have been able to recover some enough proof to show that the girls were in the tank, I would imagine. But I'm just thankful we didn't have to go through that, Jen, because that would have just been even worse. This was the interview with Tammy Lee. Something I've never really done, but would be extremely tedious to do, is to literally look through every page number on these written out interviews to see if anything's actually missing, if anything was sort of kind of erased, you know? Yeah, Susie, I think there's not going to be a good enough answer to much of this because, I mean, so we're going to hear what his real reasoning was maybe one day. I still don't think it's going to really help with much closure. Like these images and these details and what he did are permanently embedded in my brain. Them babies did deserve a lot better, Billy. You got that right. And I still believe that during all the time that Chris and Nicole Kessinger spent their time together, screwing around 50, 60 times a day. Now, I realize I'm exaggerating, but literally, she said they were doing it like 5, 6 times a day. I totally believe that they were having conversations about this kind of stuff. I find it too far-fetched with as much talking as they were doing for hours on the phone and all of that, that they weren't bonding over some kind of malicious, evil plan to do exactly what happened, what they did. I honestly feel like this was a conversation that ultimately did happen between Nicole and Chris, and that is why she wanted to make sure everything was deleted, and she searched in order to have the knowledge on how to delete things permanently so that even the police couldn't refine these things. Like what exactly was she hiding so much? It could very well be exactly that. The conversations that had to have happened in order for them to bond more than just sexually, but emotionally. right? I think they would have had to have talked about this. I highly doubt spending every single day together for the month of July that the topic didn't come up at all. No wonder she was trying to make sure she was talking to Chris and asking questions that only Chris would know the answer to, because she was paranoid about, thinking she was talking to the police and they had his phone and all that. I remember that detail clear as day. You remember when we broke down the interview and I had wrote down key things and stuff like that? We went through that all. And I had mentioned that fact, that she was quizzing Chris with questions only he'd know the answer to, and why, to make sure she was talking to just Chris and nobody else. This chick has a lot to hide, it seems, and the fact that she's not done any efforts at all to come forward in the past year and a bit since this all happened to try to clear her name sounds and looks as though exactly that she's guilty of something, and that's why she's running and hiding. Because I have said to this to you guys, that damn it all, I'd be the first one to say, I'm sorry, if you could actually come out with some proof and tell me where your ass was Sunday night and Monday morning. That is also another piece of the discovery that we actually never got an answer to, that we actually never heard where her whereabouts were on that night. We do not know where she even was. Remember, she called back like Tuesday to tell him a bunch of details that was all after the crime? Like, what about when the crime was going down? Where the hell were you at? And like I said, the fact that she hasn't come out with any proof to show where she was or what she was doing makes her look all the more so like a liar who's hiding the fact that she may have helped her lover kill his kids and family. It sure would be nice. I don't know. Like I said this before too. If it was me, I would be coming forward and saying, "Hey, public, look, there's always going to be those people who are going to persecute you no matter what. They got it in their head that they're going to believe what they think, and that's it. I'm not one of those kind of people. I will go on facts. I will go on evidence, and I will go on the truth of that. Not validating information and just going on somebody's word of mouth, because we all know that we couldn't trust much that came out of either of their mouths. But she sure has not made any efforts whatsoever, and she's had a hell of a lot of time to do so, and yet she's just continued to stay hiding and not come forward with any information. And with the entire case closed and what looks to be like no more investigation, it looks like we're just left to think and guess, which really sucks for us as the public, in my opinion. So this was basically the polygraph then, guys. Yeah, neither of them got what they wanted now, though, right? Christine, it seems a little bit weird that things are just sort of left like this, open, so many questions on the table, no answers to them, and no evidence or proof to kind of show otherwise, right? Tell me your thoughts. Hi, David. Where's Gianna Marie's comment here? Billy, you're saying, yes, I agree. Oh, the NK trash thing. I'd sure love to know all of your thoughts on all of the missing information that we're probably never going to get to see. Well, the fact that he was Googling how to react to love and when to say I love you and all those kind of details very much showed that he needed to be dictated or guided in some way. He was sure not capable of having a mind of his own, it seemed. And many people believe that that stemmed, from the childhood and his mother and their relationship and whatnot. And that, Shanann was very similar and she sort of took over Cindy Watts's place when they married. And, and that Nicole Kessinger was very much just like that too. He was just going on to another woman who he seemed to get along with better and similar interests area. And he thought that was a good idea to completely annihilate his family in order to be with her. And now look, like none of them get to have each other at all. And 4 people are wiped off the face of the earth. The Ruziks have their only daughter taken from them and their only grandchildren taken from them. You think there's information sealed from the plea deal? I feel like there was some medical information that was perhaps sealed and some things that probably would have made him look really bad as far as drug, things or whatever, but we love you too, David. Well, not the dead weight. And we heard that he actually dropped Shanann, and that's what the girls heard. And at the very least, Bella, I think Cece was still in her bed, but Bella did see that. And then eventually both the girls saw it. They both saw their mother asking, "What's wrong with mommy? Remember?" And he was trying to say, she's sick and they're going to take her to the hospital and blah, blah, blah. Right. And they end up all getting into the truck, but driving into the middle of butt fiddle nowhere and heading to the service site. Like I could just picture poor little Bella's mind racing as to why they weren't at the hospital and what they were doing and just being so little and alone and having no choice but to trust in her father, the person that was about to do the worst. You really think he did it all on his own, Gianna Marie? Yes, please explain more. I'd love to hear your thoughts as to why you think that. And what did you think about the enhanced footage of Nate's camera that seemed to very clearly show a woman with a ponytail, certainly a shorter person than the longer legged individual, which I believe to be Chris, it seemed that there was 2 sets of people that were actually at the house on Sunday night, Monday morning. But I definitely love to hear your thoughts as to why you think that, and what you thought of the enhanced footage. I do have that up on my channel still if anybody hasn't seen that yet. I was working with a really good gentleman who was able to enhance the footage, and I had sent a message asking if he could enhance the enhanced footage, and that maybe it might help, some of the people that couldn't see what we could see and stuff. Because I had gotten some messages from other people saying, I don't see it, or I see that the photo's all grainy. It looks like it's been chopped. It looks like something's been set up here. I don't know. Personally, I totally saw 2 different people. The jeans may have been similar, but they weren't identical, and the leg lengths were off. They were both different, and the shoes were different. And I mean, even if, I don't know, it to me looked like there was 2 people there. The ponytail really did give her away, and I feel like you can pretty clearly see that on the enhanced footage. Yes, I think she owns a gray truck. And I thought that they also owned a red car between her and her dad or something. Yeah, Jen, did you go for your meeting with the officers or the judicial people I can't remember where you said you were going right now. I don't want to sound like a stuttering, stammering, but wherever you said you were going and you were going to show them the footage, did you? Especially seeing it in her interview, you can tell it's the same kind of ponytail. And us ladies know how many different kinds of ponytails there is, but it's pretty remarkable when you see her walk in for her first interview that's recorded, and you see that recording from Nate's camera. I mean, they line up pretty freaking well, in my opinion. Yeah, she wears a very high one. I definitely noticed that the family dynamic wasn't genuine. It seemed robotic or fake, or I don't know, just like they were going through the motions, you know? Yeah, Betty saw the gray truck. MK's truck that was spotted outside of the Watts house. Well, that's a lot of information that we didn't really get, and that we were left to sort of decipher and investigate on upon ourselves and whatnot, you know? Christine, which video are you speaking of that it looked like she was holding a child? Yeah, that's true. So many theories. We're not going to look over this whole thing. I'm just kind of scrolling through it for you guys to read, but we've already heard the polygraph and stuff, so this is just the typed out version of exactly that. I find it really interesting that there's 2 different case numbers. That kind of bugs me. I'm just shocked that I didn't ever notice it before. I have to admit that I did not see that AD video that you're speaking of, Christine. And did he actually show footage of her? Or yeah, either way, he did still commit the crime. Christine says, and noticed her and Chris Watts wore the same colored clothing on the night. That's exactly what I'm saying, Christine. I wondered how Cece got into the truck if she wasn't carried because I only saw one shadow running to Chris. I don't know. I feel like there was 2 separate shadows because he bent down twice. But that's exactly what I was saying, Christine, is that they were trying to dress similar, but you very much could tell one person was wearing a hoodie, the other person was wearing a sweater. Yes, they were both long sleeved, but not identical. One person was wearing white shoes, another was dark, and the leg lengths that were off on both people. Like when you saw a person can't just change the way that they walk out in height. You know what I mean? And we would have noticed that if Chris was trying to walk out all silly or stupid, however you want to call that, we would have noticed that. But it was 2 completely different type of walks. As much as they tried to mimic and copy one another, in my opinion, you could very much tell it was also 2 different bums that were in those jeans. Hello, Marlena. Cava. I'm so sorry. I'm bad with names. Damn it. So sorry, girl. But Marlena is a pretty name. Marlena? I don't believe that they thought the camera was in that direction. Oh, no, because Chris remember that Chris Watts had actually made an excuse in the robbery of his tools to gain access to Nate's cameras to see what angle it could see, right? Chris wanted to know how much Nate's camera was going to be able to pick up, and he covered his tracks kind of accordingly. Yeah, the jeans were 2 different kinds of fits, but the leg lengths are very obvious that they were off, Gigi and Christine. Hi, Rachel Newton. How are you? Yeah, I'm sorry, Marlena, for your name thing. Whenever I saw Chris wearing long sleeves, the sleeves are... Well, I don't know. I've seen him both ways. But it's the back of the neck part that is very different from one another. If you go back and look at the enhanced footage of that I have put up on my channel, you'll be able to see the neck area of a thicker piece of dark compared to one that didn't have the hoodie. It's really obvious, in my opinion. Hence why she isn't really able to come out with any GPS coordinates to verify her whereabouts. Because I mean, we already know that her phone pinged in Frederick area. She tried to say she was at the gym, but never ever came out with, any information to corroborate that at all. Things are going okay, hon. How is you, Rachel? NK's backside of her face is very female. She was at the gym, JIM. You're funny. That's funny. But I mean, it's pretty obvious with a year plus going by and not hearing a peep out of Nicole Kessinger as to her whereabouts, as to any, new information or any honest information for that matter. And we, due to the case being closed, I don't believe that the warrant for those GPS coordinates ever actually got filed. And I mean, I don't think it was even probably ever going to be. Perhaps the officers already knew, because look at how quickly they were onto the GPS coordinates of the Anadarko truck. They sure didn't waste any time. Literally the same day that they were at the Watts home on Saratoga Trail, they were already getting his GPS coordinates from Anadarko and getting a drone and flying it over where he had been. And they had located the sheet and probably what was likely Shanann Watts and whatnot, right? And they ended up getting that information from him within 24 hours, kind of thing. 24 to 36 hours, like. Well, and sadly, there was no cameras working at the Survey site, which is unfortunate, because that would have just been so helpful if we would have been able to see if anybody else was out there with him or whatever, But I still think like they would have had to do this in two vehicles, because she was nowhere to be found. And we don't know. I can't remember. I don't think she even made it into work the next day, right? So, in all honesty, we really didn't get to find out where she was on Sunday night and Monday morning. And like we know about Tuesday. We know about Monday night where she was and what she was doing and the long phone conversations that they were having. But we still have no idea whether or not she was anywhere near there Sunday night, Monday morning. I wonder if it would or wouldn't have fit. I mean, in all honesty, the girls' feet would have had to have been on literally like on top of their mother with them sitting in the back and stuff. But it's odd that Chris Watts keeps mentioning the fact that there are no cameras in the back of their home, right? And that there was that red vehicle that was seen sort of leaving the scene area from the side street. That was also very obvious. And it was corroborated that it wasn't Betty's vehicle. Whatever happened to Nicole, Alabama Wildman? She ended up moving to North Dakota and secluding herself away with a elderly family member in a quiet neighborhood where nobody really knows her, and she's able to sort of hide out. I believe by now she's probably changed her appearance, and she's more than likely changed the way that she speaks, because of how much everybody kind of made fun of that and took note of the like. I would imagine that she's tried to quit saying the word at all. His coworkers were more nervous in their interviews than he was. Yeah, no doubt, Vicky. I completely agree with you. Still don't think he took them to the site alive. No, Rachel? Does anybody think that there's some validity to the fact that he perhaps ended up not fully killing them the first time and then, eventually him letting go of his grip off the nose and the mouth area, only to have them, take a breath again, kind of thing. Because that was information that came out that he had to do it twice, kind of thing. She read the survey site, then why would she text Chris to look up the lyrics of Metallica when she could have just asked him? Yeah, well, perhaps they were trying to make it appear as though they weren't together, kind of like how Patrick Frazee was using Kelsey Barrett's phone and texting from it to make it appear like, she was still alive and whatnot. Hi, Christopher. Change your name because Chris, making America great again, to my real name. Christopher Motz. Well, welcome. Hello, hello, hello. You still think he's lying, Rachel? I wonder if there's some validity to that, because that, in my opinion, and even statistically, from what we know scientifically, it takes a good 3 to 4 minutes in order for, the suffocation to be completed or whatever. And as sick as this topic is, I could see him perhaps, doing that and then letting go too soon or something, thinking that he had fully done it, only to have them, revive, kind of thing. Regain consciousness. Exactly, Susie. I wonder if there's some truth to it. I really do. Yeah, he might still be lying. It would be nice to be able to get a polygraph based on some of the answers to find out if it was truthful, and to have the authorities sit him down and really tell him that there is absolutely nothing else that's going to happen to him in any way, shape, or form, but that they sincerely really do need the full truth. That there are people out there that hearts are just bleeding, open, because of not having some of the final answers and answers to the questions. So perhaps, Susie, because there was no fibers found on the girls, and Cece would have had some evidence on her, like bruises. I definitely feel like the coroner did not screw up his autopsy reports, and it's pretty telling that even though the officers kept asking Chris the manner of which the process of his smothering his children, how exactly he did that, right? They literally got him to kind of spell it out, and he kept saying, like, well, I used a blanket and then I put my mouth. And the officer corrected him and said, so you used your hand first and then put the blanket? And Chris Watts says, no, I used the blanket first. But yet the coroner says there's no fibers anywhere in their mouth, on their tongue, in their throat, which would have happened if there would have been smothering with a blanket. Yeah, it's really sad that we have so many lies and we don't really have any straight answers. I feel like we're just kind of left to guess, and it would sure be nice to be able to get some truth and some honest truth. But like I said, it's probably a process with him and him alone, that things are going to eat away at him during, when things sort of simmer down with all of the fan mail and the fame of part of the publicity of the media frenzy and whatnot. When all of that dissipates and he's sort of just left to think on his own quietly, I feel like that's the time that he's really going to just feel the need to get it off of his chest and really tell the truth. Like, he's had no emotion barely to this whole situation, which tells me in a way psychologically that he hasn't even really processed this yet, or something, or he's that psychotic that he just is incapable of having a conscious thought towards what he did in his actions. I don't know, but I feel like eventually it's going to eat away at him and he'll want to get that off. And it's probably going to be an emotional situation. Whether or not that happens publicly with an investigator or even privately within the prison, such as a help group or whatnot, some therapy, counseling, and stuff that he may be going through. I feel like it just hasn't reached that point yet, Crazy case is right. Do y'all think it would be worth it to just, okay, settle down? I'm not that horrific, Billy. I don't think like that. I don't know. Sorry. I get it why some people might be that mad, but no, I wouldn't want to do that. I don't think there will ever be closure on this case. Christine Smith, I completely agree. Like, it's very difficult to close something when you don't even have all the answers to it. So it's constantly making you guess and think up other theories and analogies as to why and how and where and what, right? Hello, VCat1. I think NK was there that night. I think her job was to keep an eye on the kids while they were sedated with Oxy, and CC OD'd, but Bella was let out on purpose to see Chris, just to find NK to smother her because she was now a witness. The liar will never get it out totally the way he did this, it seems. Yeah, I think it's hard for us to forget and ignore it when there's just so much questions left on the table. But, we only have so many more case files to supposedly go through. For whatever reason, there's 2 different case numbers. I don't know why I never noticed that before, or maybe I did and I just didn't really do anything about it. But that noticing this now is creating for me to want to send in another request to Weld County for any of those numbers and whatnot, anything additional than what we've already gotten. But folks, I think it's nice to be able to come together and sort of hash out what we think and different theories and discuss this together. And we certainly will be back on Wednesday next week at 6 p.m. Central Time to continue with our Wicked Watts Wednesdays for the Weld County case files. And then, of course, we're here Sunday, face-to-face, 1 p.m. Central Time to hang out, chitty chat, have some coffee, tea, wine, whatever you like, and just hang out, whatever you're feeling. I thank you guys for your support. And if you enjoyed hanging out here and you enjoyed this conversation, if you wouldn't mind hitting that like button for me, it would be a really awesome form of support online. And if you're new to the channel, hit the subscribe button, because we have a lot of interactive conversations and debates and discussions here where everybody is welcome. It doesn't matter what your age, race, belief system, nothing, everybody's welcome. Everybody can speak their mind, whether or not you agree or disagree or you have a different thought or theory. Feel free to express yourself here. I have created a platform where it's non-bullying and nobody's going to attack you because you have a different theory or you want to say whatever it is that you're thinking and feeling. Everybody's welcome to do that. I thank you guys for watching. It's TGIS. Thank goodness it's Sherry. My corny little saying. I hope you guys have an awesome rest of the week. Don't work too hard. Don't we always, right? And much love, folks. So we'll leave it for tonight. Like I said, I was kind of just scrolling through this for the sake of having something moving on the screen versus just dead dead screen. I don't even know how to say it really. Anyways, much love to all of y'all, and we'll be back on Wednesday, 6 p.m. to hang out, chitty chat. We'll be back Sunday at 1 p.m. if you want to hang out face to face and chat. I would love to see you all. Invite your friends, family. If you're interested in sharing my channel on your social media, I feel like that would be a great way to support me and to share with other people, you know, that we have a non-bullying platform and that everybody is welcome. So if you're interested, please feel free to grab the link off of the About page or just at the top of your search engine and put that into your social media sites and tell people how great it is and how much fun we have and how real and raw and awesome and amazing it is. I really appreciate it if you guys would do it. So thank you guys for watching, and we'll see you again for another true story with me, Sherry Wiens. I hope you guys have a good night. Bye for now.